The much-anticipated decision has come down from Ottawa on the proposed Northern Gateway pipeline. Prime Minister Stephen Harper, along with his cabinet, chose what many had predicted, approving the project. Now the question is, what comes next?
After years of hearings by the Joint Review Panel, the outcome was a recommendation to approve the Northern Gateway project, subject to more than 200 conditions. As per that recommendation, Stephen Harper didn't fail to produce. Once the markets closed, approval of the project was forthcoming, contingent upon 209 conditions and further inclusion of First Nations consultation. The decision was not surprising.
That we were not surprised, but we were disappointed that the federal government has come out and decided to approve this project. And really, I think this could be potentially our generation Clyquot Sound, if not bigger, because this is really part of it is a question of environment versus big industry.
No, it's not a surprise, and adding a little bit, add conditions to the 209 that are in place from the Joint Review Panel isn't a big surprise either. But this is, as I've said before, this is in the national interest. This is nation building. This is akin to St. Lawrence Seaway opening up Eastern Canada's manufactured goods to the world.
The proposed 1,200-kilometre pipeline would carry bitumen from Alberta to Kitimat, bound for Asian markets. A second pipeline would come the opposite direction, carrying condensate back to Alberta. The federal government's decisions have opened plenty of questions politically.
The consultation at all levels has to continue. I don't know how one gets past the adamant at no cost, doesn't matter what it was. It could, there's just no way it's ever going to happen.
But, as has often been the case leading up to the federal government's decision, opposition from environmental lobbyists and First Nations alike is expected to redouble efforts to halt the pipeline project.
For First Nations, at least the ones that I represent, the answer has always been no. Now we look at what kind of course of action do we take. So I think what we're doing is talking to our First Nations neighbors and looking at legal parameters to bring this to court and maybe do a judicial review.
Well, I wouldn't say wash his hands of it. I mean, there are conditions attached to this. There is a provincial review that it has to go through. So, in a way, yes.
Gary Wilson says the decision, while not surprising, puts the provincial government between something of a rock and a hard place. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
Enbridge says it is pleased with the decision, however, admits there's still plenty of work to be done. It listed 3 priorities for the near future: meeting the JRP's 209 conditions, working with the province of BC on its conditions, and continuing to engage with Aboriginal communities in order to build trust.